One of the most requested videos I've gotten lately was to talk about Doom Eternal. So I figured we'll go ahead and do that. This is going to be just an unscripted run through of, within the first couple of days, my thoughts, my opinions, my feedback, just overall what I think about the game, whether or not you should buy it, and just some stream of consciousness thoughts along with some really cool gameplay. Now, I'm not a super elite pro gamer. I didn't play the game on super ultra mega dank nightmare mode, whatever the actual name for it is in this game. I played on normal difficulty and just wanted to, have enough where it was challenging and fun, but not so much where I was getting frustrated, dying constantly, and, just I wanted to explore the game, explore the new mechanics, explore the story, and all that stuff more so than anything else. And then if I liked the game enough from that point, and once I really got the combat loop down in a normal playthrough, then I can consider playing through a second time on much harder difficulties. So just normal mode for now, but man, it was just a whole lot of fun. It was really, really a super great game, but I didn't think that at first. My first impressions were actually quite negative, just because the game felt really different in that your chainsaw was used for just an overall different purpose. From 2016, I was used to pretty much never using the chainsaw except for like emergency situations where I needed to delete something fast or if I absolutely ran out of ammo, but that was just not common that I would completely and utterly run out of ammo in most situations. So it just never really came up, and it was a thing where I always tried to keep it pretty much at 3 charges. Maybe I would use 1 per fight, but always do my best to keep it at 3, so if there was some super heavy that I needed to just delete and yeet out of existence, then the chainsaw would be there for me to do that. But in this game, your reliance upon your abilities and things like that has changed so much. Like, the core dynamics, to me, feels like it has changed so much that it at first felt like a huge departure and was kind of frustrating to me, to be completely honest. But it's one of those things where, like, yes, it's different, but you kind of have to accept the fact that the game plays differently now, and it's not necessarily worse off for it. It's just you kind of have to get good, and you have to learn the changes, and the game becomes much more dynamic and engaging in different ways because of it. The game overall just kind of feels a little bit more arcadey to me, which initially, again, I didn't like. The thought of one-ups and like the fact you have to juggle your flamethrower and your chainsaw and your blood punch and your weapons with very, very little ammo and and glory kills and whatever, just all of those things juggling constantly just seemed like way more daunting of a task than I was willing to accept for a game like this, where it was just supposed to be brainless, mindless fun, where I just am a god blowing through hordes and hordes of demons. And like, that was it. That was kind of my expectation. And what I learned is that that expectation was wrong. I should not have come into the game with that expectation. I should have expected something different. And once I allowed myself to change that a bit, I started to enjoy the game a whole lot more. And really, when you boil it down, the combat loop actually has not changed nearly as much as I initially thought. So the big thing going on here is that you're still going to be doing fast weapon swaps. You're still going to be doing alpha rotations of like your super shotgun, your railgun. I think it's called the ballista in this game, and then the sometimes even the rocket launcher. But more often than not, you're just going to do super shotgun into railgun. That's what I think of it as a Quake player. It's the railgun, right? So like, I just think super shoddy rail, just fast swaps. You want to get that fast swap upgrade as quick as you can and just do that to plow through enemies. Otherwise, super shoddy, regular shoddy, back and forth is still a thing, just like Doom 2016. And overall, like, it's really, really similar. All you're doing is you're adding in grenades a lot more often. You're adding in your flamethrower, which is new, to start repairing your armor, so that way your health is a little bit more plentiful. And, I don't know. It's just different overall, but it's not so different that it feels like you're playing a completely different game. It just requires you to learn the new mechanics and get used to them, and it took me, honestly, a couple days, a couple play sessions to really get that down. But my opinion of the game skyrocketed once I just kind of swallowed my pride and I stopped being like an angry gamer and allowed myself to just learn the new mechanics and learn how this new game is supposed to work and be played, and I had a much better time once I went through with those changes. So overall, the game actually feels really, really good. The first few levels were a little bit frustrating just because you have the whole new system. You only have like 1 or 2 ammo types, so like running out of ammo happens really, really often. But that's, I guess, probably on purpose to force you to understand the fact that yes, ammo is much more scarce in this game. Your reserves don't feel like they're quite as deep, and you have to use your chainsaw a lot on a lot of rank and file enemies to actually make sure you have bullets and can fight these enemies. But worst case scenario, you've got your freeze grenades, you have your frag grenades, you can do lots of damage, and your flamethrower as well. You can do a lot of damage to a lot of targets without actually using any ammo at all. So there are ways to get around everything. For the very few enemies where you can't kill them unless you have ammo for your guns, basically, they're always very sure to give you these rank and file basic little zombie enemies that you can chainsaw down to get your ammo back. They make sure that your chainsaw just regenerates over time now, so you can still have 3 charges, but when you go down to 0, it will recharge over time to go back up to 1 charge. So it's really difficult to completely run out of ammo and have a situation where you just simply cannot win. I encountered it 1 time, and that's really it, and it was a little frustrating to figure out, but I figured out a way to basically freeze enemies midair and lob grenades in a certain way where they would blow up and hit the airborne target and be fine. I think this might have been before I learned I could throw a frag grenade into the Cacodemon's mouth to just have it, you know, get weakened and blow up in that way. Where I knew I could do it with the shotgun grenade, but not with just the regular grenade. So that was kind of a weird part on my end that I figured out over time and ended up just not being that big of a deal. So combat loop is fine. It's frustrating at first, but overall fine. The other point of ire that I've seen lately has been all about the Marauder and how the Marauder is a super frustrating enemy type and it's really difficult to kill them and they feel anti-fun and this and that. And while I don't really want to go too deep into the let's say, minutia of this argument as to whether or not that's true, what I will say is that I have seen some strategies posted online for how to defeat them, and once I learned that and started getting the the Doom 2016 weapon rotations back into my arsenal, and I started getting used to that once again, it started just playing overall a whole lot better and became a whole lot easier, and the enemy type felt much, much more manageable. So I'll just kind of leave that one at that. There are strategies out there. The main thing that I did that really helped me to defeat the Marauders is you just wait for the green eye flash, and then you use your super shotgun to stun them right away, swap to the railgun, and you rail them point blank, and then you go back to super shotgun really quickly for a second shot, and you can get that whole rotation in on 1 stun cycle. Alternatively, sometimes I would do the super shotgun into regular shotgun back to super, or even like put a rocket launcher in there, so go super shoddy into rocket into super shoddy, whatever weapons I had ammo for and I had managed to switch to in time all worked. I've also seen some recommendations to use the airburst rocket launcher, whatever that upgrade is called, so that way you can shoot behind his shield and get staggers in that way. I've had very middling success with that. I wouldn't really recommend it, but it's definitely something that I have seen work in my own gameplays a few times, but I found it very difficult to rely on and capitalize on in that way. The music is, of course, stellar, and overall, I thought it was just a really great experience overall. I had a very good time. It was a whole heckin' lot of fun. One thing I strongly recommend everyone do is go for the Slayer Gates whenever you're doing your own playthrough if you haven't done it yet. The Slayer Gates are one of the things you can find in many of the game's levels, and trust me, they are absolutely worth your time. They are the best that Doom Eternal has to offer 100%. Finally, I also wanted to talk about Battle Mode, the multiplayer game mode available in Doom Eternal, and I will be completely honest, I am not a fan of Battle Mode in its current state. Although I kind of went into it thinking and knowing I probably wouldn't be a fan just because an asymmetrical multiplayer mode in Doom Eternal seems like the thing that literally no one wanted. But I tried to go into it with an open mind and see how fair and fun and balanced it was. And what I found out after less than 2 hours of play is that it is very, very, very imbalanced in the favor of the Doomslayer in every situation that I had experienced within my first day of play. As you guys can see here, the Doomslayer does super high amounts of damage to the demons and takes basically nothing from them in return. It is pretty silly, I gotta say. The demons have something on the order of like 2,000 HP, give or take, depending on their upgrades and which demon they're actually playing. And what I found out is that the railgun, or ballista, deals 600 damage on a hit scan shot. The machine gun, when scoped in, does 400 damage on a scoped in shot. And the super shotgun, I think I saw at one point it did like 900 damage to people. So using the grappling hook to get in point blank, super shotgun, regular shotgun, super shotgun, regular shotgun, or maybe switch a railgun in there, whatever, it just absolutely murders people. It deletes them so fast. It's literally not fair at all for these demons. You see in this first clip where I'm kind of using a plethora of weapons and kind of getting rotations of everything in there just to see kind of how it works and how things go. But like in the second clip, which is going to play shortly, you see where all I do is just hold WM1 on all of these demons and absolutely obliterate them. It's just not even fair. They have a hard time even breaking my armor, let alone dealing health damage to me. So it feels incredibly unfair for the demons. Now, I'm sure that there's going to be some really good demon players out there who have this all figured out and can compete with the best slayers out there, but the first impression that I got is that this is an absolutely horrible experience for anyone who is unfortunate enough to select the demons in their gameplay. And they're going to get a terrible first impression, and they're just not going to want to play anymore, and it's going to instantly die. I really don't understand how this got out of QA and it got pushed to live in its current state, because it just feels so incredibly unfair for your average Doom gamer. And I am very saddened by that fact. Now, with all that being said, it is kind of neat that you get to, I guess, live out some sort of power fantasy where you can go and play against these demons and absolutely obliterate them like more easily than you could in the single player version of the game. And it just lets you feel like you're a true god, but geez, oh man, does it just feel completely not at all fair for the receiving party. So I really hope for some balance patching in the future. I really hope that some of the hit scan options the Slayer has get toned down significantly, because quite frankly, they are way, way too much, and I do not feel like the balance is really all there. Like, as a counterpoint, well, I guess not a counterpoint, as an extra piece of info, I'll say, when I played as the Pain Elemental, which you see me shooting here, when I got a direct hit on the Doomslayer as an enemy, I did like 8 points of damage to his 200 plus stack. And then when I played as the Marauder and I hit with a throwing axe, I did like 9 or 10 points of damage on a direct hit with my projectile to his 200 plus HP of the Slayer. Like, that just does not even remotely seem fair. Like, when I used the wolf ability on the Marauder, whenever that would get a hit, it did 30 plus, which felt a lot better. But like, that's an ability that is not under my control. So yeah, I don't know. It feels really, really strange. I don't know how I feel about it. But anyways, everyone, that'll just about do it for the video. I just wanted to give my first impressions on everything. I think the game is excellent and you should buy it, but maybe just skip battle mode. Anyways, thanks for being here. See you soon. Take care.